Hello YouTube, we're back again with account reviews and they've been fairly civilized this month, which I like. Not a lot of shouting, not a lot of roasting, just a lot of things that can hopefully be helpful for you as a viewer. Today the shouting begins with one simple mistake. That's it, just one. There's nothing else I have found yet that's a problem. Of course that means there may be things I find that are a problem. I'm as excited as you are. But the one main issue with this account is something that is so common nowadays because we haven't discussed it. There are videos out there that go, watch out for this beginner mistake, or whatever clickbait title I've chosen to give this video, because I'm not me in the future. I am me now. But either way, what we have is a level 171 VIP 7 account, which means it's established, it's spending, it's trying to stay relevant, and as a symptom has gone ahead and made wonderful progress. That's right, you expected me to say horrible things, but no, it's actually quite good. We have Vesa, good first Transcendence hero. We have an Eloise, excellent carry hero. We have Carry, fantastic tenant for Eloise. We have Flora, fantastic tenant for either Eloise or Vesa. We have a Rogan, excellent hero for a Vesa. We have a Tix, which is a brilliant hero for Eloise in both, well, outside and inside tenants, like he's just a pretty good hero. And then there's an Ithaca, who is here to also be a tenant for the Eloise. And then an E2 Ignis, who is slowly making her way to E5. And now we begin the roasting. So, I said there was one mistake I had, but now I've just discovered a second. The E2 Ignis, like, you are walking a very delicate tightrope by build. Tightrope, a rope that is tight. You are walking upon one of those by doing this, because Ignis's job is to die. I know it's sad, but like Jesus Christ, Harry Potter, and Aslan, Ignis just needs to fall over and everyone is happier for it because, well, no, unlike those three, she doesn't come back to life. But she does go ahead and bless Eloise with the power of control immunity, assuming you put her in front of her or next to her or somewhere in the lineup alongside an Eloise. And ta-da, magic happens, she becomes control immune, and that gets you around loads of problem stuff. Now, that's why we build 9-star Eloise. By building this one up to E5, you are doing one thing, which is having a great hero to pair with Fairy Queen Vesa in the Star Expedition. So on one hand, this is brilliant, but on the other side of things, you are potentially missing out on a 9-star Ignis. So as soon as you build this Ignis to E5, just build another one to 9-star again. That's the annoying thing about Ignis. You don't need 9 copies, you need 12, because you need a 9-star and an E5. Now, you can get by with this hero for now, but do bear in mind, you will find that E5 Ignis doesn't fall over quite as easily as you would like. This isn't a TikTok compilation where you can just trip her up. You need to hope the opponent can slap you, and it's a weird thing to wish for, so you often do want a 9-star Ignis who falls over and gives control immunity to not Vesa, but Eloise. That's good. Now, another thing I want to check. Have you made the awful mistake of making both of these heroes conflict with each other in the homes? Let's check the Cloud Island real quick. Vesa. Oh, no, excellent. It's all level 1 homes on the Vesa, which means Eloise's should all be upgraded. Ooh, good. Excellent. Fabulous. In fact, you don't even need this. You don't need to upgrade this building. What are you doing? Dude. Why? Oh, I know why. It's because you don't actually have a second tenant for Vesa either. If you did, that would be much better. But because Eloise is just fine sitting here looking pretty, with all her houses partially upgraded, she's getting some bonus stats. Now, I look at this and it's sad and low, but that's just because you haven't got really high tenants and really high Celestial Island buildings, so I wouldn't kick yourself too much. But overall, we're making some good progress, good moves, and your instincts are good. Now, you also have heard through the grapevine that it is far superior to Tree of Origin improve an Eloise than imprint her tenants, because imprinting tenants doesn't net the same rewards that boosting her up in the Tree of Origin will do. So believe it or not, even though she's just a bog standard timey-wimey hero that's just, you know, sitting around doing things, you can totally take her Tree of Origin up. Now, I would get her to Tree of Origin level 2. I wouldn't just leave her at 1. I would take this even higher, so it's Tree of Origin level 60 and you break through. That's still perfectly fine to do. I will add that to your account, my friend, because by going ahead and doing this, you can go ahead and just get more power, and it's still going to be better than what you'd get from tenants, and you have the spiritual essence, so I would strongly consider it for your Eloise. That said, Bunders, this Fairy Queen Vesa, you have made a grave error. And this is something done by a lot of people. By upgrading Vesa in the Tree of Origin, and using all this sublimation stuff, which, mind you, is good, you have gone ahead and locked in all the stellar shards that you have into her skills. If we look at the bag, your stellar shard number is only 272,000, which is not a lot. And by going ahead and locking Vesa in with the Tree of Origin, I can't actually remove her imprints. If I click on this and go in, it says this hero is already salted in the Cloud Island as the householder. Now, if I was to remove her from the house, which I'm not going to do because that would waste your gems, it would then yell at me saying this hero has Tree of Origin improvements, and therefore you cannot remove the imprints because you need Void 4 to have imprint levels in the Tree of Origin. So you're in a bit of an awkward position because your Tree of Origin improved, you're imprinted up in the Void improvements, and it just leaves you with no way of undoing this because DH Games are mean and haven't put a reversey swersey arrow yet in the tree. Now, if a reversey swersey arrow does get added to the tree, ignore what I'm about to say next. This is a really bad idea. Because if I look at your heroes, there are no stellar shards floating outside of your account. Because what you have now is no way to improve a hero should you need to beat a game mode. Whether it was carry for Dark Seal Land, whether it was for some bizarre reason you hadn't done Death 100 yet and you still wanted to use ticks, maybe you wanted to put some imprints into the Ignis, I don't know. But none of those things are an option. It's probably a future hero that might be a problem as well, who knows. Now, right now it doesn't seem like an issue, but it very much could be. And Raven raises a very, very true point. If you wanted to really, really desperately get them back, you would need more soul symbols than you currently have because it requires 10 to go ahead and regress a Transcendence hero, which you could do, and that will give you everything back. But unfortunately, all these stones that you've backed up, and I say all of them, the attack stone that you've selected would be lost and you would have to rebuild and refresh for it. But then again, that might not be a bad thing because you can still find crit attack and speed attack, two very good stones to have on a Fairy Queen Vesa. So it's not the end of the world. But, you know, it might be something that you'd miss if you went ahead and, well, spent all those gems to do it. Because also you have to go ahead and take her out of the house within which she is a homeowner, and then you have to go into the Gate of the Void, hit the evolution cube, and then press regress, which is, of course, not possible because she's everywhere. And once you pull her out of all those game modes, though, needing gems or otherwise, you will be able to get rid of her, which will cost you another 1,000 gems and 10 of the soul symbols. So basically, the point we're making is if you find yourself in a situation where all you can do is void for 2 heroes, then you should probably put all your Tree of Origin improvements into Eloise, not Eloise and Vesa. The only time I would improve both is if I had Void 4 outside of them as well, because then if I did build a hero I needed that Void 4 and imprint level to be moved around on, I could still have that flexibility. That said, if flexibility is not important to you, then this is fine. So it depends on what side of the fence you're on, but I personally prefer to have flexibility, so I would have put all my improvements into the Eloise and just had a Void 4 Fairy Queen Vesa. That said though, Bunders, I am fully aware that for you and your account, you want to go ahead and probably improve yourself for Star Expedition. That's what I'm smelling. Correct me if I'm wrong, but by just building this E5 Ignis, I'm sensing the excitement to have a Vesa run herself alongside Ignis, and then these baby carries, which you have already made level 100. It's just good. It's damage. It's smart. And you said, yes, true. Well, there we go. Exactly, Bunders. So you're not making a mistake for what your goals are, but it is worth highlighting it within this account, just so that people know there are ways of making mistakes when going ahead and throwing your Tree of Origin improvements in. I have to admit, though, the fact that you fully upgraded this active skill and you have the armor boost on the Noble Sublimation is pretty sexy. So, good job. And you're wondering if you should focus on other game modes at this point because Star Expedition is much less often. Yeah, well, yes. It depends on what you find fun, Bunders. Star Expedition has never given that good of rewards, but it's definitely a team player thing where you can work alongside your fellow guildmates to deal a lot of damage and try and beat other guilds that are in your Idle Heroes server range. So that's something you could consider. It's definitely something fun to do. And you're at a point now in the game where you've established yourself. Early game is finished. If you guys are wondering where early game ends, in my opinion, it's when you build your first Transcendence hero. Once you've made that journey And you've made it very, very successfully, Bunders. You have got Lieutenant's for Eloise, you've gone with the Vesa, and now the flexibility and freedom of building an account begins. Maybe you can go for Mystic Fairy Freya next and have some defensiveness, help yourself in Realms Gate, things like that. Maybe Forest Seal Land is something you want to focus on. Olivia would help with that, that's for sure. And you can go ahead and build heroes that will improve you in them areas. If, however, you wanted to go and brute force your way through the Tower of Oblivion, you might consider heroes like Lord of Fear Aspen to go alongside your Fairy Queen Vesa, and the Tower of Dreams might be a good time. Maybe you want someone totally different. Maybe you want Eos. Maybe you want to build a Sword Flash now and then build Aspen afterwards and then have the classic Vesa, Sword Flash, Aspen trio that is so good and reliable in this point in the game for clearing Vanquisher. Or maybe you just want to go ahead and play it safe and build a Void campaign team using a Jara, a Vesa, and an Aspen as well. Aspen being the common denominator in a lot of these lineups, but that's mainly when you've got 3 Transcendence Hero. I like the Mystic Fairy Freya option, but it's not necessarily something you have to do. But do bear in mind, Mystic Fairy Freya is a tenant for Fairy Queen Vesa and sits comfortably in slot 2, the one slot you're not using on your Eloise. At some point, either at the end of having 2 Transcendence Heroes or into having 3 Transcendence Heroes, so around that time period for your account, you will slowly move away from Eloise. You will break her open, get the tree things out of her, get the imprints out of her, and move this account into a much more Transcendence-focused direction using those strategies I discussed earlier, and the account will grow in a myriad of different directions. Right now, you are still very, very limited by the fact that you have just a Vesa and an Eloise, and you're kind of trying to be generically good at everything rather than specialized at particular things. The E5 Ignis is an inspired decision because it is a simple single hero that will massively help you in one particular area, the Star Expedition. You don't necessarily need it for anything else. Other heroes that have that same strength would be an Amun-Ra for the Realms Gate or an Olivia for things like boss fights, especially in Star Expedition at some point later down the line, or even just in Seal Land alongside your Vesa. So it's worth considering small heroes that are typically support-based, typically priests, that can go ahead and add a little bit of power to your team just like that. And Aranya's now a tenant for Vesa. That is true. That is true. I would rather build Flora, but it is true. So, yeah, you got some options available to you. Now, Bunders, tell me, are there any questions you have for me now that we've gone ahead and broken down the basic simplicities of your account? And whilst you're thinking about something to type, I want to look at your artifacts. So we have a glittery melodic strings. I like this. We have a splendid crown. So you went splendid crown first. Okay, a lot of people do that. Whether it's any good remains to be... Well, it's not that it remains to be seen. It is very good. It's just a little aggressive down an artifact choice, but it's still fine. We have an AMB. At some point, you will want to make this splendid. And I don't know if it's going to be as soon as most people would suggest, because you already have a splendid crown, so it might be worth considering Demon Bells. Some would even say go for Rui Scepter for a Jara. Then again, you have been focusing Demon Bells. Oh, I forgot you're VIP 7, so you have been spending. We've got ourselves 3 Demon Bells, 4 Demon Bells, in fact, inside that splendid one. Do we have any more? You got a Glittery Punisher, fair play, that's damage. And I don't see any more Demon Bells. Okay, I would probably pick up 4 more Demon Bells, get that energy feed sorted. Melodic Strings is also something you want to drip feed in. So, all in all, pretty standard, pretty good. And yeah, I like it. Energy feed's going to be helpful. Melodic Strings is going to be helpful. Inevitably, you'll want to probably pull in a Sword Flash, and those will all help her at dealing with Vanquisher. Heck, Power Creep might join the game. We might get other Transcendence heroes that are good at things. Well, in the Vanquisher, right? It's hard to beat Sword Flash, though. She's very, very good. But, yeah. You know what? I like this account. At first, you know, there are bad things. There are things we've discussed. But your progress is going very well. And you guess you don't really have too many other questions? Just, am I saving the right things in terms of shards, bags, and stuff for future events? Oh, that is an excellent place to end, Bunders. I think that's a really good question. So you are saving many, many things. You're hoarding 4-star shards. I am guilty of this as well. It is a pain to go through these, and promotion stones will eventually kick you in the teeth. You have a bunch of elite hero shards, which is a little enthusiastic. I would pop these at some point. Don't be afraid to break these open, unless, of course, there's like an elite hero you really want. But then again, heroes is pretty easy to grab at this stage for your account. You got these 5-star shards as well. I mean, you're probably saving this for Heroic Miracle, but there isn't really a strong precedence to do that because you already have quite a lot of 5 stars anyway, and you're now at a point in the game where Cores of Transcendence shouldn't be too difficult to pick up from the compass. So just be mindful that you don't necessarily need to save all your 5-star shards, but as well, when they're not in the bag, they're saving backspace. So that's something you're hopefully aware of that's, you know, pretty essential. Also, look here, we've got 2 Ignis copies, so that's nice. So we can go ahead and build the E5 Ignis. So the reason she isn't fully E5 yet is simply a food issue, a lack of food. Now, if you needed that food, it is actually right here. We've got 6-star puppets, we've got 4-star shards. It's very likely that if you found the heroes in your bag, like 5-star heroes, for example, that you could build to 10-star. So OD, you need 1 more copy, but you're probably going to pull these like, oh, look at all these 4-stars as well. If you decided to dedicate yourself to tidying up your account, it's very, very likely you could find the food to build Ignis, at least to E4. E5 might be a stretch, but you should at least be able to get it to E4. It depends what other things we have in chests just lying around. But I'm seeing a lot of 4 stars. I'm seeing 3 stars. It probably is doable, unless you run out of 3 stars. But then again, you got 1,374. So it shouldn't be too difficult. And yeah, that's just a thought for you if you want to find the time. That said, what's your promotion stones looking like? Only 100,000, right? That's not a huge number, but I think you can squeeze out some 10 stars with that and maybe still go ahead. Enable Ignis all the way up to E5 with that many. It might be tight. But then again, Aspen Dungeon, you can just buy some more if you need them. So that's fine. Saving other items and resources, we have 887 scrolls, which is a nice number to go into holiday season with. It's not the most, but it's fine. We've already got the spiritual essence we talked about. I'd probably use this to improve Eloise up to Tree of Origin level 2, or just save it for a future Transcendence hero, but you're nowhere near another one. You're only on 2.3 million. We need 5 million, so you're not even halfway there. So yeah, maybe do consider bumping stuff up into Eloise, but do be mindful that's going to consume a lot of stellar shards, so that could get very pricey very quickly. And other things we've saved, profit orbs, 172. That's actually quite a lot. So you're doing well there. And oh, glory coins, that's a lot of glory coins. How many things can we buy with these? That's the Star Arena. Okay, that's 38 profit orbs. That's not as many as I thought. But still, wishing coins, that's 519, and that's great. That's going to be a lot that are going to help you in a wishing coin event if you need it. How many more coins do you have? 353. Okay, you will probably need that. At some point during the holiday season, we're probably going to get ourselves a wishing coin event where it's like, oh, hey, here's Sky Labyrinth, but also spin coins and get an artifact. Doesn't happen as often as we'd like, but it's still a thing that has happened. So I think Easter was like that. So just be mindful. One of these events might be pretty good and involve using wishing coins. So it will come eventually. And will we get a profit orb event as well? We probably will, right? We're due something like that at some point. So just keeping these things stockpiled up and saved is very, very, very important for your future progress. You got a lot of Master's toolboxes. You got a lot of standard toolboxes. And wow, you have way too many standard toolboxes. So it's probably worth you focusing on the other areas rather than normal ones. Either way, fun to take a look at your account. Hopefully folks at home have a little more awareness about going too heavily into an E5 Ignis so quick, or even locking down heroes with your Tree of Origin improvements. It can be quite dangerous to make those improvements too fast. That said though, having spoken to Bunders and broken down their mentality for what they want to do and approach with the game, it's good to see that you've thought about it. You've gone and said, you know what, I want to improve Star Expedition. I'm going to make these decisions for that. And you've also asked, should I be spending glory coins or saving? Oh, glorious relics? Yeah, glorious relics are a funny one, unless that's something completely different. No, I think you do mean glorious relics. Glorious relics are great if you want to buy an artifact. That's typically what we encourage people to do, but it's a chance that's more probable than not that at some point during holiday season, you will be able to cash them in and pick up artifacts for 350 as opposed to 400 relics. Heck, they might even be super generous and make it 300. I don't know how likely that second possibility is though. But either way, they will at some point sell us artifacts for a reduced relic cost. So if you don't have too many, and looking at your account, you only have 246, I would say keep a hold of them and wait for a sale event like that, so you get more out of your relics. It's good to get things on sale. It's been true for all of eternity since before Idle Heroes even existed. A sale is worth an investment. So yeah, I would keep them around until you get a good opportunity to spend. Hopefully that's all your questions. If you guys have any questions yourselves, let us know in the comments section. I hope you enjoyed this account, and hopefully you learned something about the little nitty-gritty things that can even catch some mid-game players who are good at making smart decisions off guard. I'll see you next time. Happy hunting.